All right, so here, good afternoon, everyone. Let's see if I can. All right, so here, okay, so we are going to discuss what I wanted to show you today is the hyper boom portfolio from Tika Tiwari. So, and I'm really hoping this live stream goes through that. So bear with me. Anyways, the hyper boom portfolio consists of the strategy that when there's more awareness made about a specific technology or investment idea, etc., when this starts to catch momentum, that's going to be the driving factor in how you can benefit from that. So to begin with, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do follow the crypto space very closely. I have been for the last few years. And I believe it's coming to a point in time where the people that have been working in this field have been engaged with these new technologies should come out and speak publicly about what they know, because it has a huge impact, positive impact. It will have a huge positive impact on society in the years to come. So these are things that are not necessarily being discussed feverishly publicly by many. It's probably something that you just kind of hear about and think, well, okay, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my weekend or the season that's upcoming, right? So we're in September right now, September 18th. So welcome if you're watching this live. And for those of you that joined later and want to watch a replay, thank you. So I'll get right to it. So this article here, it came out this week, this past Wednesday, which would have been the 15th of September. And this is published by Tika Tiwari. So I actually am a member of this Palm Beach Confidential. This is one of the tools that I use for my own self to, cut the noise, keep up to date with relevant news in the crypto industry, right? This person here, Tika Tiwari, has done an amazing effort in this space. He recommended Bitcoin at 400 and something US dollars back 5 years ago. And as we can see, the price of Bitcoin skyrocketed since then, right? So he's been in the trenches, he's been in the know, he's been following and working closely with Wall Street advisors and has since broadened his business to help people like myself so that we can even further benefit and understand from the knowledge and all the information that he's gathered through his companies, right? So he hires a lot of analysts to do work in this field, and that's how I benefit because I pay for that subscription, and it's quite a bit of information, right, that they sort of gather. So I don't have time to go through and do all of this research myself. But what I do is I subscribe to a lot of different avenues and I use that to my benefit. What I'm doing here right now is sort of sharing that information, right? As I try to make this more public, and what I'm doing as the CEO of Cyberchain Technologies, I've been working with cybersecurity and blockchain for quite some time. And I see things are really ramping up in this sphere. And I wanted to bring this to your attention, especially in 2017. September 2017, things were kind of quiet. It was about to heat up, and that was not too long ago, right? What happened at the end of 2017 Bitcoin all of a sudden hit 25,000 Canadian, which was phenomenal. During the summer of that year, Bitcoin was probably around $3,000 US. No one was really paying much attention to it until it actually crossed $20,000 US, right? And that's when everybody sort of said, hey, what's going on here? So fast forward now, since then, we've also had the Bitcoin halving, which also has a positive impact on the market. So this is a lengthy article. I just want to sort of let you know here. Since the dawn of technology, one simple fact has remained the same. When usage skyrockets, profits boom. So what he explains in this here is that you've seen the phenomenon with computers, phones, music players, TVs, VCRs, the internet, right? So it shows how the adoption phases of the internet as it comes about. So what we're seeing now is the adoption phase of crypto. And it has many people baffled as to what's what here. But the thing to note is, just like the internet had its adoption, just like Amazon had their adoption, the ups and downs, everything like that, look where they are today, 20 years later, which is, they've made huge leaps and bounds, right? Same thing with Apple. So now I believe Apple is going to release their iPhone 13 in a few weeks. So US broadband internet connections, the number of people that had and were able to afford internet from 2002, like look at this chart, right? So we're building on this type of momentum. Why is this important? Because blockchain itself brings about the Web 3.0, right? The internet is an evolution, right? So it began phase 1, then phase 2, and then now we're looking at Web 3.0, right? More of a decentralization of the internet. So phase 2, going back to social media. If you recall, back in 2005, 2004, social media began to be the thing, right? How do we connect one another, upload our videos, share our life stories with the world, with friends and family, etc., right? So we've all gotten used to that since 2005 to where we are now in 2021. You look around and social media is everything, right? So a lot of us, a lot of people in marketing and stuff like really capitalize on social media. So the broadband internet is sort of an evolution, right? This technology evolution. So I want you to keep that in mind as we move forward. So broadband usage exploded from 2000 to 2020, right? And it led to a subsequent surge in the internet among Americans. As well, the internet companies like Amazon, Adobe, and Intuit, imagine, saw their share prices explode during this period. They went up as much as 62,000%, 7,800%, and 4,700% respectively. So this is something that, many people missed out on, including myself. And this is why I take this so serious today. And I believe that, why wasn't I aware of what was going on, in terms of how come I didn't see it from that point of view, from that angle? Well, I was a bit younger. I wasn't really paying attention, right? It's just out there having fun in life, and it happens. But what I want to do today is use social media to create the awareness and the buzz of what's really going to happen. So Tika Tawari, as I mentioned, has been doing some great work. So I'm just going to scroll through this article a bit. I don't want to keep it too long and boring. But this is notable here. In his 32 years, right? in covering markets, all types of different markets. Like this guy came from Wall Street. He's found no other asset class that has risen higher and faster than cryptocurrencies. And I'll begin to show you why. If you look here, $10,000 into the market today, and it compounds at 20% for 5 years, that's $2,400. Sorry, $24,000 roughly, right? So roughly 25K. Let that sink in for a moment, right? For even example, if the S&P rises 20% per year for the next 5 years, it still wouldn't be enough to bridge the funding gap between your life and the life you want, right? Especially when it comes to inflation, right? So that's something huge to consider. Inflation, right? That almost chews into the whole 20% that you have to wait for 5 years. So I'm not a financial advisor, but I begin to peel back the onion and start looking and analyzing this from a different perspective, right? I look at the news that's coming out in terms of crypto. I look at the regulations that's coming out. I look at the debacle between XRP Ripple and its lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC that's ongoing. So there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of FUD that's going to be created in terms of fake news and wrong news, and making you think that this is something that you shouldn't be involved in. But that couldn't be further from the truth. This is something that I believe truly that everyone should be aware of and be in the know, right? So this goes on to talk about when he recommended Bitcoin back in 2016. That's 5 years ago. Bitcoin, you're looking at this price here, folks. 2016, Bitcoin was $420. So there were only about 7 million wallets holding Bitcoin at that time. But since then, we've seen that figure explode to 200 million, right? That's huge. That's phenomenal. As we've seen Amazon and the adoption of the internet, like we talked about before, percentages explode like that, right? So we don't want to miss the boat on something like this, right? Imagine turning $1,000 into $151,000 in 5 years, right? And to be quite honest with you, it's almost like if you look at Bitcoin Cash right now, which I've been speaking on, many of you are aware of that. Bitcoin Cash is less than $1,000, and some of the top analysts that I sort of follow, they charted out where Bitcoin Cash, we're following the legend here, which is Bitcoin. If Bitcoin hits $1 million in 5 years, Bitcoin Cash could literally be 250,000 for one. Currently, it's less than $1,000 US, right? So 150 to 250,000 in 5 years is very possible for something like Bitcoin Cash, right? So I go here. This is the hard evidence, right? Bitcoin Cash was a fork of Bitcoin, and look at the gains that Bitcoin made, right? It's not the only cryptocurrency, and yes, there's about 7,000 of them. And as you dig deeper, like especially past the 100th coin, finding out what are the other projects, it can get daunting and it could become skewed, right? And keep this in mind. What's good for Bitcoin is also good for the entire ecosystem of crypto, right? Just like broadband technology was good for the entire internet ecosystem. Right? So when Bitcoin booms, it can slingshot certain altcoins into the stratosphere. So I'm just going to scroll down. Yeah. So Neo, this person, he recommended Neo back in 2017. And this is what it did, right? Went up, went down, went up, went down. but you would have had to hold 5 years, right? I'm not even sure what the initial price was, but it skyrocketed 156,000% in less than 10 months. When he recommended NEO, I had no idea. I wasn't following him then, but I had no idea that games like this was even possible. And this is what everybody really spends a lot of time on these days, right? If you're getting into cryptocurrency, you want to learn, you're going to be looking at a bunch of YouTubers out there and trying to learn, and as I did, and that's great, right? There's some great YouTubers out there, and this is phenomenal. The reason why we're looking at that is to get these types of gains, right? Imagine having $1,000 turn into over $1.5 million. Like, that's mind blowing. That's phenomenal, right? That's literally hyper boom in action. Oh yeah, this one, BNB. I wish I was following this guy since back then, but hey, never cry over spilled milk. Imagine BNB at $1.88. Right now, it's like about $400 or something like that. Here we go. September 2020. Like, this is what, if you can see the arrow here, this is what cryptos do. They lay dormant, they get boring. I talked about this, sideways action. They do nothing. And this is the part where it gets people so bored. They're like, you know what? I bought so much of this. I'm just going to sell it, dump it for another coin. And when you do that, sometimes you get caught in this, this part here. By the time you sell, all of a sudden it starts skyrocketing. And guess what? You'll never get that price again. Right? Like, this is a lot less than $50. Anyways, if they bought Binance when he initially recommended it, right? They had the opportunity to cash in 36,000%. $1,000 to $367. This is mind blowing. Aave, that's another good project. Okay. Yeah, so this came out on Wednesday, and what he's recommended is that people don't put more than $200 or $400 per idea, right? If you're a smaller investor. If you're a larger investor, maybe you might put more, 500 to 1,000 each idea, right? So that's what they're talking about. So the hyper boom has to do with one thing: crypto adoption, right? So Google, about maybe a month ago, there was a ban on crypto ads and stuff like that. They actually removed it. So they're going to be, you can advertise, or you can search Google for certain crypto things, and that would be, it'll start showing up. So this is a major thing here. US financial firms offering crypto services to their clients: Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Chase. Right? Like, especially JP Morgan and Chase. Like, these guys, back in 2017, they were bashing Bitcoin. And now guess what? The doors are open. But who is it open for? Is it open for myself or yourself, right? Or the billionaire investors say, hey, you know what? I want to drop a few mil in crypto. They're not going to be pulling out a credit card like you and I, right? So they just make a few phone calls and that's it, right? But you're talking about a combined 300 million checking accounts are coming on board, right? So they're doing the preparation. We are currently in that preparation phase, right? So yes, we saw a huge market crash this year. We saw like a puppet show with, folks going on Saturday, the comedy show kind of thing. And, market crashing and sort of went into the summer, right? And it's very emotional sometimes. If you have a lot invested, it can be. So just note, and this is for myself as well, right? Stay focused, stay positive, because we know that 300 million, I know now, I'm sharing this with you. I haven't had time to read this all week. As I mentioned in my NFT video, I do get a lot of these things, and I just simply, I'm busy with other projects and I don't have time to read through it, but I'm sort of reading this through for the first time, and it takes time to digest these things. So I'm learning here with you that 300 million checking accounts are coming on board. That's it. That's all we need to know. The crypto adoption is here, right? That's all we literally need to know on this beautiful Saturday, September 18th, right? Evening. You know, the sun's about to go down. It's 7:16 p.m. over here. So for the first time, customers of hundreds of US banks will soon be able to buy, hold, and sell Bitcoin. They're not just going to buy Bitcoin only. They're going to look for things that make economical sense for them. And that, as an example, Bitcoin Cash, right? As the adoption for Bitcoin increases, so will its price. And especially over time because of the halving, right? Its supply is limited and its supply output through mining is cut in half every 4 years, right? So it's based on mathematics. There's thousands of Bitcoin miners all over the world, right? Those same machines can easily be programmed to mine Bitcoin Cash. And why wouldn't they? Bitcoin Cash also has Bitcoin Smart Chain, BCH Smart Chain. So that gives it more features as well, more versatility. But anyways, it will allow 300 million to buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin. This, my friends, this is in addition to PayPal. PayPal has been in crypto since last year, and they, by themselves, they already have about 260 million users around the world, globally, right? Also, they own another company which has about 40 million. So combined, they have about 300 million just for themselves in that PayPal ecosystem. What we're looking at here, folks, is the banks. So you add 300 million, right, from what we see here in the banks, and just tack on PayPal to that. And everyone here can do their own research and just look into how big the user base of PayPal really is. Only last week, they just announced that they will allow PayPal users in UK to trade and buy crypto, certain crypto, and Bitcoin Cash was one of them, Ethereum is one of them, and I think Litecoin as well. So they're expanding. AMC just came out and said, hey, we're going to accept Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin in addition to Bitcoin, right? So each of these has pros and cons to it. Each of these tokens have different use cases, etc. Just know that this is something that's happening. So even if it's a red day, as I mentioned in one of my videos previously, September is typically a bearish month for Bitcoin. It could have been a lot worse, and I was actually looking to see, how low would it get, but it actually didn't go that low. So it went, even though it's typically a bearish month for Bitcoin, it's not that bad, right? So here we are. If you imagine yourself logging into your bank account, with a click of a mouse, transfer some money into another account, but one that paid interest in Bitcoin. Credit card companies are starting to bring crypto in their platforms. Visa recently launched crypto-linked cards that makes it easy to convert and spend cryptos at 70 million merchants worldwide, and it's been a huge success. Visa has 3.3 billion users. Wow, I didn't even know that. What are we doing? MasterCard, option to pay digital assets anywhere. A card option. And I did see this from even Coinbase and BitPay. A lot of these companies are coming out with their own cards that would allow you to spend your crypto. So think of it, AMC theaters, if they collect crypto, right? Let's say if they take half of that, turn it into fiat for the current day, current month, and then pay their bills, right? So they're making sure that the business is running. That profit can stay in crypto. Those crypto tokens that they are now accepting are actually deflationary tokens. So that means over the period of time, and they could also, if you pay them in Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum, they can also do what they want with that, right? So as long as it's in the crypto sphere, half of that they could probably change to fiat, pay their bills, pay their employees, and then the other half they can either keep it as is in terms of what they got paid with, or they can switch it for another crypto, just like a trading. So you're going to see this happening with more and more companies, right? As more and more people, if I was accepting crypto for my services, once I get that crypto and pay my expenses, etc., I can take that and either convert it back to Bitcoin or have a portfolio, and this would be my company, right? They would do that, the same thing with their company. Every CEO of every company who would probably, if we were looking at these types of numbers, Visa's getting it with 3.3 billion users. It's just a matter of time till people start actually accepting crypto for their services, right? Give it 5 years, give it 10 years, right? But it's going to happen, right? Through the evolution of technology, through the evolution of how we do things, right? I remember when Visa came out with the credit card, there was a lot of uproar. People really didn't like having this Visa credit card. If you do some research, you might find some articles stating that. By the way, yes, a few weeks ago, Amazon, they announced that they're looking for a crypto expert to join their team. And if that were to happen soon, they would bring in like 300 million users. Twitter is also embracing Bitcoin, another potential 300 million users. I didn't know that. And Square could bring in as many as 210 million users. All in, we are looking at more than 5 billion potential new users about to come into Bitcoin. We've never seen a tsunami of new users coming into the crypto like this before. That's so true. I recall a year and a half ago, the total crypto market was up 130 billion, and then it crashed down to 60-something billion, 66 billion, right? And I wrote through all of those, right? And here I am reading an article for the first time, reading the sentence for the first time. All in, 5 billion potential new users. Did I know that it was going to be this big one day? Yes, I did. But just reading it just puts me back a bit, right? And this is exactly why I spend my time and my extra time, my free time in doing this, right? Because I want to keep up to date with this, and I want to share the information because this is huge, right? We all have to win. We all have to understand this new ecosystem, and that's hopefully what I'm here to do. He calls Bitcoin the gateway drug, because once you get into Bitcoin, you're like, hey, well, what is this other crypto, right? Many will filter into small coins. So that's what I see. First, they go to Bitcoin, then it makes its way down to other coins, right? There's a cycle, large caps, medium caps, small caps. And it's the small caps that when they, explode, that's when the most profits are made. All right, so pick number 1, CeeLo. So this CeeLo company, I've heard about them since last year. And they're a decentralized finance company, This would definitely be one of the main competitors from any banks out there. And they use DeFi as well, eliminating third parties. So CeeLo is what CeeLo is trying to do is give you access to smartphone access to public blockchains and financial services such as banking and lending. So remember, there's about 2 billion people that are unbanked in the world, right? And, you know, a system like this really, really opens them up for business, right? They don't have a bank down the street, you know, that's not convenient. Here it is. They just need the smartphone, broadband connection, and the app to go with it, right? So there's a lot of details here. So CeeLo is already in partnership with some very large European companies that has also over 200 million mobile customers, right? So let's fast forward here a bit. And this is what happens. Sometimes things go up and then it goes down. Wow. The number of CeeLo addresses has more than quadrupled in April, since April. And that's interesting because this is right about the time when the market itself started going downwards, right? All the way down to maybe June, July, and then it started picking back up again. But during that time, CeeLo addresses quadrupled. I like getting down to these specifics here. The transaction fees for Ethereum is crazy. So it proposes you can buy CeeLo up to $12. So if we give CeeLo the same multiple as Ethereum, its value would be about 35.5 billion. At a market cap of roughly 35 billion, each token would be worth $144. I don't even know what it is right now, but that's like turning a $500 investment to 15 grand or a $1,000 investment to 28,000. All right. So that's one. Curve, they're a DEX exchange, decentralized exchange, so they're not centralized. So he gives quite a lot of data here. But anyways, all I need to know is enough to turn $500 into $27,000 or $1,000 into $54,000. Great. Don't know when, right? But that's where patience comes in, right? He also talks about blue sky scenarios for some of these tokens. You know, blue sky is if we give Curve the same valuation as Coinbase, it would be worth a lot more, right? So each token would be $564. So that's enough to turn $500 into $100,000 or $1,000 into $200,000. This could literally pay for your kids' education. It could literally give you and your family a better way of life, right? And especially in these struggling times. So You can buy up to $5. They're raising the buy up to price. I'm not even sure what the current price is, but it's available on Coinbase. Okay, great. Gotta keep an eye on that. I thought, so if I were to drop $1,000 on this right now, just say, okay, great, and just keep it. Knowing that, how many of the million people are coming, like 5 billion, he mentioned previously, right? So that's what we went over. 5 billion people are coming in, folks. And I remember I began subscribing to this Palm Beach like last year, about a year ago, actually. And look where it is now, 2.2 trillion total market cap. LDO. Okay. Hyper boom is when you have a massive influx of new users coming into crypto. So with this massive influx, they're going to choose certain paths. Staking, wow. Oh, I didn't know that. Luna is another great project, but now I understand that Lido is actually providing staking for that project, so I didn't know that. Let's get down to business here. All right, not bad. $500 into 40 grand. Uniswap, SushiSwap, 0x. Matic. Everybody's probably heard of Matic by now. That thing was like, did phenomenally over the last year. So let's go back to the top here. It's going to help Ethereum increase transaction speeds by 100x, right? And reduce transaction costs to a fraction of a penny. So Ethereum is growing, everybody, will love and trust Ethereum right now. But they have some issues. They have some scalability issues in terms of high transaction fees. Even though AMC is saying, yeah, we'll take your Ethereum, there's fees associated with that, right? So if I'm paying $20 for a movie Ethereum, like, take my Ethereum, guess what? What's the fees going to be like for that? $5, right? So it's going to be 25. Like, these are the things you have to look at when saying I'm going to transact using a certain coin. What I'm seeing right now is countries like El Salvador. It's an experiment. It's doing wonderful, right? They came out the gate. Sure, in any technology rollout, they're always going to have some pros and cons, pivots, hiccups, and you pivot to another strategy, right? But if you didn't begin that project to begin with, guess what? So other countries are looking at that and saying, hey, you know what? We're just going to keep a close eye on them, see what their challenges are, and we'll try to do it better, right? And that's called adoption, right? That once the first domino drops, the next one. Who's the next one, right? So Polygon Matic. I believe Polygon Matic and Ernst & Young, they formed a partnership. So Ernst & Young recently announced that they're going to partner with Matic to do some business. And I'm not exactly what, but you guys can research that. Let me know later. I did post that up on my Instagram this week. 55 million users just flocked to Polygon. Wow. When was that? Okay. Yeah, it's actually down 50% since its peak. This thing has got a lot of room to grow. What's the value right now? Probably. So Matic is definitely one to keep an eye on, right? It'll help Ethereum out as they go forward. So typically in a stock market, right? It'll take 64 years to make those type of gains. And this is what a lot of people who's really heavily into stocks probably can't comprehend. It's like, ah, this thing must be a fad or some kind of BS, because this is not possible. I've been doing stocks all my life and I have never seen returns like that, right? I wasn't a big stock person, to be honest with you, and being in technology, I understand this much better, and that's why I like it, right? And I can see where everything will sort of be, resound over this in the next coming years, 5-10 years, not a long time. Look, buy up to $2.50. I think right now it's probably like $1.50, something like that. These are the exchanges you can buy that. Ren, that's another good project. DeFi will completely disrupt traditional finance as we know it. Right now, DeFi protocols already allow users to trade in billions of dollars in assets without human intervention. So this is like automated, This is the future, right? So these are the early stages of technology development in terms of investing, in terms of yielding, right? Hold on, what's this thing? According to CoinMarketCap, 8,000 cryptocurrencies. Of those, roughly 700 are non-Ethereum based tokens, including Bitcoin, DOT, and XRP. So what the REN project is really allowing you to now interact with that ecosystem, right? Allowing the non-Ethereum based tokens to interact with the Ethereum and Ethereum based tokens, right? So there are 8,000 cryptocurrencies, right? There's a lot that are not Ethereum based, right? So REN is going to be that bridge to connect them. So okay, one-to-one mints and burns digital assets. They hold 1,000 BTC in storage. So the REN virtual machine, REN VM, that's a protocol for secure cross-chain interoperability. Okay. We're seeing an uptick. We see value, an uptick in usage, adoption as well. So now this little company, not little anymore, they have over 1 billion held in its platform. Okay. So this could be, diving deep a bit, right? Dark nodes, stuff like that. But ICE, yeah, I think they own the, yes, ICE owns the New York Stock Exchange. So in the Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, which owns the NYSE, you're comparing ICE to REN. That's phenomenal, right? Remember, we're in the early stages of this technology, Web 3.0. 5 million users start coming on. Your people who are doing stocks trading right now, they're on a different platform. We're going to probably see convergence of blockchain on these stocks, right? They already have like injected protocol, right? It's linked to stocks, etc. Whether the SEC likes that or not, these are technologies that are being invented. So I'm not sure who's going to be holding up the innovation in their country, right? But the SEC is a governing body globally for securities. And it's just a matter of time till the bulls just break out the pen. And, with games like this, why wouldn't, like you can see, right? Why wouldn't anybody want like 150,000%? Because as I mentioned earlier at the top of the call, 20% in 5 years, right, through an S&P, I might feel great, back in the day with 20%. See my portfolio looking great. I was younger, maybe more naive, but now guess what? That I realize that if I was in that situation, that 20% doesn't mean anything because of the inflation that's out there. So all it really is, investing in stocks, in my opinion, was to have an inflation hedge, right? Same thing with real estate, right? Buy real estate, everybody knows, okay, great, no more land being made. So the value of that goes up over time, the scarcity aspect. So that's it. All these things wrapped into Bitcoin and the ecosystem, cryptosphere, deflationary assets, etc. You see the demand increases as the adoption increases, as the awareness increases, so will the price in the long term, because these are deflationary assets. So 1,000 into 27,000. And these things are less than $2 right now, right? So anyways, what's the next one? ZRX. I've been watching this for a long time. I have some, not much, but yeah, it has been going up over some time. They're an exchange, I believe. $10 million users implemented ZeroX's API. Wow. Okay, so ZeroX is partnering with CeeLo. Huge development, as we pointed out. CeeLo has roughly 1.2 million users on its network. No wonder they increased that much. I was actually wondering about that. And now here it is, right? This is the nuts and bolts that I like to know. And I thought you guys would like to know as well. And maybe it's a good thing that I'm actually doing this and posting it up publicly, because actually it makes me sit down and actually read through these articles, right? To understand a bit better. And I know that I'm scrolling through, but hey, at least we're extracting some information from this. I'm really hoping it's beneficial to you guys. Wow, $200 per token. That's enough to turn another one. That's enough to turn $1,000 into $197,000. There was another token that we talked about that before. It might have been CeeLo, but I'm not sure. But if they've merged, now that makes sense. That both of them will go that way. So bringing it all together, you can only go from 200 million users to 5 billion users one time. That's it. Story's done. It's over. That's it. And once 5 billion users happen, just like I recall when it was 66 billion and I was a little bit depressed because the market was crappy. It was winter. Nobody was listening to me. I was talking about crypto, I was like, well, who cares? Now there's 2 trillion in there. Then there'll be 5 trillion, 10 trillion. We're talking about users here. Right now there's 200 million users. I remember when there was like 39 million users. Now we're talking 200 million. Even for myself, once it hit 5 billion, if I don't plan accordingly right now, if I don't spend the time to research, analyze, and understand, it's sad. I think, what is it? Saturday night right now? Everybody's partying right now. Who isn't partying? Pandemic party. But anyways, this is it. right? Saturday night. I'm here at Saturday Night Live because why? This is why. Once you go from 200 million users to 5 billion users, that's it. You're not getting that opportunity again. Wow. Yeah, he has a crypto catch-up portfolio, by the way. Each of the crypto catch-up coins in our hyper boom portfolio is already seeing massive surge in usage. But this is nothing compared to what we'll see over the next 10 months. Just 10 months. So I think we're like 4 months away from 2022. So let's say by June, I'd like to take that back, but probably by the spring, by May of next year, that'll be May 2022. That's only about 2 years away from the next Bitcoin halving. What I've noticed in the past is that a year before the Bitcoin halving, in anticipation of that halving, there's some excitement, there's some noise, there's some chatter, right? There's an influx of new users because they know that, hey, Bitcoin halving is next year. Maybe I'll need to buy, an extra $100. So we're going to have, all these millions of users join within only a year or two, right? So the time starts now to understand and get involved, right? The key, I didn't even read this sentence, but look what he's saying. The key is to get in now before the hyper boom begins its earnest. Even waiting one day could hurt your total profits. So as I mentioned, September is usually a bear month for Bitcoin. It's kind of slow. I recall 4 years ago, I was starting a new job. I got laid off for a few months. As an entrepreneur, it's tough, right? So my mindset was, hey, actually September 18th, this was the day I started a new job. I recall it being a Monday, but I don't know. But anyways, that was 4 or 5 years ago, so that makes sense. Anyways, so yeah, I wish I could go back in time and say, you know what, pay attention, hold myself and go, hey, go back in time and pay attention, because my mindset was like, oh, I'm starting this new job. I wonder how it's going to be. And that's it. I was focused on doing my best for that, delivering my best for that new job. So that was great. But I should have taken some time to really understand some of this stuff as well. But anyways, you can learn from my lessons, right? So. Okay, so yeah, Chainlink is actually one of the coins that anybody who knows me personally, they will know that I was talking about Chainlink a lot. I learned about Chainlink from Tika Tawari, but what drew me to Chainlink is understanding one simple fact, that there's blockchain and then there's the legacy systems. You need something in the middle to communicate, because blockchain is so secure. These legacy systems, the data by itself, you need something to translate to help the data pass through back and forth, right? And Chainlink was the first oracle that came about. And the founder of Chainlink has been involved in blockchain since almost the time of Bitcoin. So he fully is apprised of the blockchain advantages and disadvantages. And this is where they mapped it out and say, look, this is going to be the new decentralized Web 3.0. It took some time for these geniuses to plan. And he saw the opportunity where, hey, you know what, now that I know that this is a gap, how are we going to get people like Swift, the huge banks involved? We need an oracle. So now Chainlink it was one of his first 5 coins to 5 million, right? So that's, Chainlink did really well. I remember that back when it was $2. Some people that I follow in this space got in when it was 50 cents. But it's understanding these projects which will keep you around in it, invested in it, right? And I went through the motions of over investing and over leveraging, and you've got to position size and do things rationally. With 5 billion users coming into the sphere in a matter of like a year, 10 months, a year, 6 months to a year, we understand that right now is the time. And where do I want to be a year from now? Where do you want to be a year from now? When you look around, what other investment out there can you invest in that can possibly have life impacting, positive game changing in your life, right? So Chainlink was one of them, right? So I'm sure Chainlink will do great, continue to do great. It's gotten some competition in the past. So massive crypto demand that would skyrocket 5 more altcoins, I would say. 5 close to 5 million. Since then, the average gain of these tokens is 1,400%. We did it again. Crypto catch-up portfolio. STX is another one that I like. In December 2020, he predicted that in 2021, the world would wake up to the disruptive power of DeFi. So he created this DeFi portfolio. All these are links to his portfolio, right? Aave. And in March 2021, he did mention that Ethereum would follow Bitcoin as being the second crypto to hit $1 trillion. It definitely and certainly is on its way to that. I think it hit 5 trillion, it hit 500 billion, and then we had a pullback in the market. We're down 42%. So this is just an absolute amazing time to share this information. So because right now, like we're down 50%, we're down 42%, we're down maybe 100% on some of these tokens. But with 5 billion people coming in, more awareness, broadening awareness, I think I can do the math myself and say, well, you know what, I just have to be patient. I just have to understand and look at some of these projects closer. So this goes on to talk about some of the coins that he has in his portfolio. Just scrolling through quickly on the balancer. YFI, yeah. Band protocol. So this is a competitor to Chainlink. So they're actually doing decent things. The graph. No, Unibright. I know people talk about that. Anyways, I know about the graph. So the graph is a decentralized protocol for indexing and querying data. So just think of it as Google, right? Who does your indexing for your web searches today, right? So Graph, GRT, is, yeah, they're forming new partnerships, and that's like the next Google. You can buy that at probably $1.50 US right now, right? So that's going to be huge, right? So Thorchain. So he says buy Graph up to 120. All right. Zcash. I saw Zcash there. It's a privacy coin, right? It was a fork of Bitcoin as well. It's about $200 US or less. Probably less, because I think I was thinking in Canadian. Bittrex just relisted Zcash on its platform, both in the US and globally. Okay, hold on, what did I miss there? The first delisted privacy coin to be relisted back on a major exchange was Dash in September 1st. Dash is another project we proudly hold in our portfolio. The Zcash team has been working on providing more tools for the community. Zcash open major grants. Atom. Atom is another really, really good token. Yep, so you can buy Atom up to 10. STX. So STX allows, they allow developers or dApps to be built on the Bitcoin network, right? So it enables secure smart contracts. So Bitcoin is one of the most secure networks in the world. Imagine building your applications on that secure platform, right? Miamicoin, wow. Utility to the Bitcoin network. Miamicoin, okay, I gotta do some that. Programmable base layer. Miamicoin is a cryptocurrency built on Stacks blockchain, designed to provide income for the city to help those in need and to incentivize people to move to Miami to be part of the tech ecosystem. Sorry, let's see what happens here. All right. Well, look at that. I didn't know this. So with a huge state like Miami, like Florida, working with Stacks, STX, they want to incentivize. So this is innovation, right? So some of our federal, the regulators on a federal level, it takes them a while to come, to digest and understand certain things and put things in momentum. But the states or the provincial level, here in Canada, if you want to do the best for your province, for your city, you want to be innovative as much as possible, as quickly as possible. So it's really good to see these guys stepping out the gate. Because so far here in Toronto, I'm not aware of anything that such as this type of nature. Right? We should be out there, but anyways, it's a competition. So maybe at some point, we need more people like myself. We need more people who are involved in the industry to come together and to talk about this and bring it to the, masses. Right? This is kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing here, because I just want to show you on a beautiful Saturday night, like here are the possibilities, right? First 5 coins to 5 million. Yeah, Crypterium, Ripio, Chainlink. Back in those days, he was talking about literally $500 to 5 million. Yeah. So since then, Chainlink's come a long way. He still hasn't put a buy up to price on that. Crypto.com, CRO, yeah. These guys are doing really well. What's that buy up to price on that? 30 cents. Wow. NMR, SMT. Data. This was a coin that I was looking at holding for a while. Smart contracts on Ethereum blockchain. Engine, NFTs. If you know NFTs or heard of NFTs, he recommended Engine back when it was like 20 cents. Now it's like crazy. It says buy up to 22 cents. I think it's like $2.50 now, something like that. Bitcoin. buy up to, he's saying buy Bitcoin up to 75,000 US, right? And the price today is 45,000. So you can comfortably, according to him, you can comfortably go and feel free to purchase Bitcoin up to $75,000, right? ETH. The Ethereum network is growing at an unfathomable rate, while settling about 3.3 billion in transactions a day, up 1,000% from 300 million a day in early 2020. Phenomenal. Buy ETH up to 5,000. XRP, digital asset built for payments. It is the native digital asset on the XRP ledger, an open source, permissionless, decentralized blockchain. So if you held December 12, 2020, if you held XRP in an eligible wallet, you would be qualified to receive Flare tokens. So these guys are still working. Okay. The word is circulating around the community. We could see the Flare protocol airdrop. Anyways, hold XRP. Songbirds Canary networks are allowed the team to test Flare network. I have no idea what that means. Anyways, these are exciting times for XRP holders as 2 airdrops are coming their way. Once the Flare testing on Songbird completes later this month, the FLR SGB airdrop should commence shortly. I was hoping that he would talk about the case, but he did mention that he's like in one of his videos that I also received, he says not to worry, that it's like a done deal, right? So some background on that. XRP, Ethereum, all these were early tokens, and Ethereum sort of got the free pass, according to a lot of people, that they weren't looked at as a security or securities, right? So XRP all of a sudden it says, hey, they're being looked at as a security. So you didn't conform to these rules. So now we're going to sue you. So there's been a court case battle, and since over the last year, since December 2020, and most recently, one of the senators came up and says, hey, you did not clarify the requirements, right? So this, please, even up to today, what is and is not? And are you benchmarking it based on a really old model or what? Clarify your requirements. And, similar tokens out there, one got to win and the other has just been sort of stifled. So XRP, that token is being used for, last I checked, it was like 3,000 banks using it. And they delisted, when this lawsuit took place in December 2020, it was delisted from many exchanges, right? Many, not all, but many. So once the case is wrapped up, if the Ripple team wins, that price would and should increase because of the fact that now it'll be relisted on exchanges, and it will be sort of consumable by investors, right? So that would drive, there'd be a lot of awareness around that. So that'll drive up the token price. So let's see what happens. We're mid-September, we're just past mid-September, and we're looking to see what the next 3 months, as I mentioned, 2017, just 4 years ago, the last 3 months, of that year was phenomenal. As I mentioned, like in October, I began hearing some noise about Bitcoin. I was like, okay, whatever, but I'm focused on doing my thing. All of a sudden, November and then December, and we had this big blow off top. And when that blow off top occurred, the altcoins just went phenomenal. Some of them, like Neo, 150,000%. You just don't know, right? Like, who knew to get involved with Neo back then, right? So there was a lot of people in this space at a deeper level than I. So I try to wake up and get involved as well and continue to learn. But I hope you enjoyed this video. My apologies for any inconvenience. But keep an eye on this market, especially as we move forward. I'll continue to bring you relevant information as I see and as I receive them. All right. Thanks a lot. Take care, folks.